Good day everyone. I will discuss the topic of sports training concepts and principles in athletics. Individuals interact in activity for a variety of purposes, including improving mental, cognitive, and fitness status, pursuing a recreational goal, releasing pressure and anxiety from daily existence, eating healthily, and simply feeling better. Involvement within activities promotes teamwork, builds passion, gives a great challenge, and allows you to socialize and build different acquaintances. What are the concepts of sports training? It includes strength and training, corrective and restorative exercises, conditioning and cardiovascular training. It also includes mental and psychological training and advice on nutritional values. Sports training is especially focused on optimal performance in a particular sport. What are the principles of athletics? Training to improve an athlete's performance obeys the principles of training: specificity, overload, rest, adaptation, and reversibility. So when we say specificity, it's to improve the range of movement for a particular joint action. You have to perform exercises involving joint action. It is quite possible for an athlete to have good mobility in the shoulder joint, but to have poor hip mobility. Conducting shoulder mobility exercises may further improve shoulder mobility, but it will not affect hip mobility. When an athlete performs a mobility exercises, he or she should stretch to the end of his or her range of movement. In active mobility, the end of the range of movement is known as the active end position. Improvements in mobility can only be achieved by working at or beyond the active end position. Recovery. Rest is required for the body to recover from the training and allow adaptation to occur. An inadequate amount of rest may lead to overtraining. Adaptation.
Training programs are designed to improve performance by developing the appropriate energy sources, increasing muscular structures, and improving neuromuscular skill patterns. Sports medicine professionals must be familiar with the basic principles and processes of training so that they can evaluate training programs and determine their adequacy in maintaining an athlete's health and preventing injury. What is training and how is it done in athletics? Sport-specific training is simply fitness and performance training designed specifically for athletic performance enhancement. And yes, if the training is done in the correct way, it can be very beneficial. If not, it can be detrimental.
Key principles in training athletes. So we're gonna tackle 5 key principles in training athletes. First, we have specificity. The stress that are applied to the body in training must be the same as those experienced in your chosen sport or adventure. So going back to the point above, your time is better spent focusing on speed rather than chugging out a 20-mile long run. This principle gets totally disregarded if you are training for general fitness, whereas anything goes. Second, we have individualization. This is a crucial principle, the fundamental fact that everyone is different and not all training is going to be suited for everyone. Different people respond to training in a different way. If you are walking or cycling with a friend and doing exactly the same amount of training, don't be concerned if one of you gets fitter faster than the other. This is what individualization is all about. The same goes for training with someone who is fitter than you until you come to the point where you are starting to overtake them instead. Lifestyle can play a big part in this. You are going to feel more rested for exercise and able to recover more if you work from home on a laptop compared to someone who does a lot of hours and manual labors daily with minimal rest. Some days your training can go really well and the next day, even though it was exactly the same length workout, it can be a nightmare. This is what individualization is all about. Progressive overload. This is all about the need to gradually increase the workload that you put your body through. An example of this is in weight training. You wouldn't stick to the same weight constantly, otherwise you won't make any gains. So you would safely increase the weight to gain strength throughout the weeks. It is essential to combine training and rest, whilst at the same time increasing the stress that the body is put through. This so-called stress is a combination of the frequency, intensity, time, and type of the workout. Frequency. This is the amount of time you are going to be exercising throughout the week, or the number of reps sets you are going to be doing of a given exercise. Intensity. How hard you are going to be pushing is going to determine what kind of session you are going to be doing. It feels like a 7 on the RPE scale if you are training by effort. Time. This is how long you are going to be working out for. This again can relate to how long a certain rep is, as well as how long you are going to be exercising for as a whole. Type. The type of exercise are you going to be doing dictates what are you going to be training. Are you relying on your cardiovascular endurance with a longer run, or your strength with a weightlifting session? Variation. Variation of training adds spice to your training. It keeps you motivated and keeps your exercise regime fresh. 9 times out of 10, the variation exercise can have a positive effect on your main sport. This doesn't strictly mean a different exercise completely. It can be just a variation of your training as a whole, incorporating different sessions into your training. Take a runner, for example. It can be easy to fall into the trap of just running for the sake of running, but why not add a speed session into the mix? Reversibility. Overtraining is a very common problem and comes about when you don't get enough rest during your training schedule. You overdo it, thinking you are making more gains by workout more, but this could actually be having an adverse effect. This should not be confused with overload, which is the planned exposure to an increased overload and the right amount of rest between each session. Without the correct amount of rest, you will suffer from overtraining. With the correct amount of increased training and the right rest, you get overload, which will in performance. You can also be a victim of reversibility when you don't train as often as you are used to. This is why you always hear the term consistency is the key floating around. Without consistent training, your body will start to lose its fitness gain in those few weeks where you are exercising 3 to 4 times a week. If you suddenly drop that to once or none a week, then your performance and fitness starts to decline.